Hello and welcome to my channel. You know, if you're watching this particular video, it's probably because you're interested in customizing, whether you do it or maybe you're thinking about doing it. It could be in the 1/12 scale, it could be in the 1/6 scale, or it could be in the 1/9 scale that I like to kind of play with. But you know, whatever scale that you're using for your customs, it's nice to have something to kind of like accent your work. And you know, whether you're displaying it in a bookshelf, in a display cabinet, or maybe sharing with people online, you know, these accent pieces or these accessories can really give your figure some excitement and some more weight. You know, whether it's a simple display piece like this, where I have a beach scene and some rocks with an ocean spraying behind it for my Submariner, or maybe it's just an accessory like this throne that I have for my Phantom figure, or it could be additional characters that interact with your custom like this Dalek. Or it could be even some sort of like architectural piece for a diorama like I have here that I put together for my Ghostbusters, this Zool. I even managed to get its eye to glow. So for whatever purpose you're looking for, having a PLA printer to create accessories or diorama pieces or display pieces can really make the hobby a lot more enjoyable. So today in this video, I'm going to go through the process of printing a PLA model and using it for your display. You know, I've had my PLA printer now for I think it's been about 9 months, and I've really enjoyed it, and I haven't had too many problems with it. You know, I found out that there's some things that you have to do to upkeep, but once I found those things out, it's been pretty easy. So I'm hoping to share that with you guys today. I hope you stay tuned. I know I'm going to have fun. So let's go ahead and get to it. Well, here's where I have my printer. It's in my back room. We have a bar that we don't use. We don't drink, so I use that little space for my printer. It's about, I'd say it's a little bit larger than my bread maker, you know, but it doesn't take up all that much room, and I have it here in a corner where it's just kind of unobtrusive, and it can just print, you know, pretty much undisturbed. So that's my setup. I actually bought this Creality printer as a refurbished model, so I didn't spend a lot on it. I think it was like $130 total. And the reason that I didn't want to spend a lot on it was because I didn't know if I would be able to do it, number one. Number two, you know, I'm the kind of person that kind of like pushes things, and I was thinking if I broke it or if I did something wrong, you know, I didn't have that much invested in it, and I wouldn't be that disappointed if it didn't work. So you make the choice about how you want to go about 3D printing, if you wanted to even purchase it. But that's what I did. Some people will go out and just buy the most expensive printer, and it worked for them. But you know, that's not what I did in this case. So for those of you guys who are saying, well, that Creality printer, it's like, you know, a base model or whatever. Well, yeah, that's kind of like what I wanted. So there's my printer. Over on the side, you'll see there's like a little disc. This little disc is where I save my prints, and so I'm going to go ahead and go to my computer, and I'm going to save a file and go ahead and show you how I get it printed out. Even my printer even came with this little adapter, so makes things a lot easier. Okay, what I thought I'd show you today is how to print up some pieces for your Star Trek Megos. There's a fellow customizer, JD, he's a buddy of mine, and you know what? He puts out some really cool Star Trek stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and download one of his pieces. It's one of his newer ones, and it's the desk here it is right here, from the original series. And so it's going to be this desk. It also comes with a little monitor, which is a bonus. So I'm going to go ahead and get this downloaded. You just click here to download files, but I'm also going to need a chair. So what I did was I went to Yegi. You just go to yegi.com, and then I typed in the search Star Trek chair, and I found one right here. And you can download the files for this one. Now, you know what? It's important to tip these designers because, you know, that's encouragement for them to keep going. For JD, he has a Patreon page, and that's what I did. I signed up for his Patreon page just because it makes things a little bit easier for me, because you know I download files from him all the time, so I want to make sure I support him that way. So that's what I did with JD, and let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and get those downloaded and put them on my program that starts the printing process. All right, I'm going to start by printing the chair. You can see here that it has like different files. These right here are, I guess, pieces that you can assemble. If you have like a larger scale, like 1/6, you might want to print out these pieces and print them out and then assemble them, because you'll get a little bit more detail and they'll be bigger. But I'm just going to go for the basic chair. I think this is it right here. I'm going to go ahead and open it in a different program just so I can view it, because my Creality printer program, for whatever reason, it just takes a lot longer. And yeah, there's my chair. So now that I know which file I'm using, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to open it in my Creality print program, and you'll see how long this takes. I mean, maybe 3 times as much. Oh, that's not so bad, I guess. Usually it takes like 3 times longer. So there's my chair. I want to make sure it's scaled properly. It looks like it's Mego scale, but I figured I want it to be at least 13 centimeters tall. So let me adjust my Z scale. Let me see if I can just do a straight 130. Yeah, so that'll be 13 centimeters. And I'm ready to print it. So I have to support it. I click here on supports. Now I don't want these supports to be really, really thick. Let me show you what they look like. Those are the thick supports. And sometimes those are a little bit more difficult to remove. I want the supports to be a little thinner. So I usually go to about, either 5 or 2. Usually 5, but on this one I think I'm gonna go for a 2. Because see that base right there? I don't want to break that. So I want little supports that are easy to take off. So I click automatic support. Let me show you what a 5 looks like, because it's the one that I usually use. Oops. Let me remove the supports. Let me go to 5. You can see those are a little thicker too. So I think 2 is the smallest. So I'm going to go to 2. For my table though, I'll probably use 5. Oops. Keep forgetting to do that. Automatic support. So now that I have it supported, I simply go down here to slice, and by slicing it, it converts it to a program that my printer will understand. And then I can just save it on that disk that I showed you earlier and print it up. I'm going to go ahead and save it on my disk and take it to my printer so I can show you the next step. All right, now I'm going to take my disk and I'm just going to insert it here in my printer. I'm going to flip it on, and then I get a little screen over here. It's booting up, and I'm just going to click print, and it's the first one on my list there, and I simply just click enter. Now I put this calibration on. I don't know, I've been doing it since I started printing. I don't know what it does, but it makes me feel better, I guess. And then confirm, and then basically what it does is it goes through like a warm-up process, and it gets the bed heated, and it also heats the filament so that it can be extruded. So once it starts printing, I'll come back and we'll take a look at it. Well, you can see it's printing, and according to my screen, it has about, it's 23% in, so I got about another 77% to go. I'll keep checking on it. Yeah, it won't be long now. I've got 68%. So, should be done soon. Well, the print's done. I'm at 100%. I'm going to go ahead and take it off of the build plate, and we'll start cleaning it up, checking it out. Yeah, this is my favorite part, when I pop it off of the build plate. Man, this guy's being stubborn. And I need to be careful because the base is pretty delicate. That's why you need all these supports to help you out. Guy's being stubborn. There we go. See, there's the bottom of the base, and the rest of this is the the support material. So let me grab a couple of tools and start working on this. Most of it just can be pulled off by hand. You know, it's just a tedious operation. Let me grab a tool. Be right. Oh, hang on, I got some. Just to kind of show you what's involved. It's just like peeling all this stuff back like an onion, I guess. You know, tools help too. I have some little pliers and what looks like a pick. So I think at this point I'm just going to go ahead and grab those. It looks like it's there's a lot to pull off here. I just wanted to show you kind of what I'm using. I use these little picks, and you can just grab material. Just got to be careful that you don't jab yourself with it. And you can see that kind of like helps pull it off. And then I also have these. These can grab like large chunks and twist, and let you kind of grab onto it a little bit. You just have to be kind of careful because, like I said, there's some pieces in here that you could break pretty easily. That's why I like to do a lot of it by hand, just a little bit at a time. And maybe some scissors would be nice too, like if you need to cut off some pieces. Oh, and then here's the top of this like webbing. That just peels off with your pick. So I'll need to get in there too. But yeah, this is the I don't know. I think this is the fun part for me, just kind of like unwrapping it. Just like I said, take it slow. Be careful with the print. You don't want to break any parts of it. Especially, like I said, the stem right here, because I've done that before. I've printed a couple of these chairs. I wasn't happy with the scale that I had on my navigation system, so I went back and I reprinted a couple of chairs, and that's why I knew the height was about 13 centimeters for the Z value, because that's the height, and that gives you a pretty nicely scaled chair. You can see that's coming apart right now, and you can see that stem I was talking about right there. So there's one section of it. I'm going to go ahead and do the other sections off camera just because, you know, it takes a while. It's kind of tedious, I suppose. So let me get the rest of this off and I'll be right back. Yeah, look at all the junk that's left over. Just tons. And you know what? No matter how careful I am, I always end up breaking the bottom of the chair. It's right about there too. So this might be a good opportunity to show you how I fix it, because you know, if I'm breaking them, chances are there's somebody out there that's gonna have the same problem I do. So let me go ahead and grab some materials and we'll repair this chair. Ooh, look, I missed a piece right there. Huh, neat. Now I'm gonna need a little piece of dowel. Here I have a little acrylic one. It's not very big, maybe a couple centimeters, maybe a centimeter or so. And I'm just going to expand the holes in both the seat stem and the base stem. And then once I've got it deep enough, I'm just going to add a drop of glue. And put the stem in here. Then add a little bit more glue. And stick it into the base. And you just kind of rotate it until looks like that's the place where it broke. Oops. And I'm just going to hold it here in place for a little bit until it sets. Well, I have my chair repaired and primed. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the scale for my desk, and to do that I have a little help here from Mr. Spock. Let's see. And I'm just going to sit him in the chair, check the scale of the chair. You can see the scale looks pretty good. So at this point, I'm going to figure out the scale for my desk, and to do that, I'm going to use a ruler. And I'm going to take this ruler and I'm going to measure above his knee so that it has a comfortable clearance. And it looks like it's about 8 centimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and scale my desk accordingly. So let me go ahead and get that program downloaded and into my Creality program. Looking good so far. Well, this is the desk that I'm going to use. You can see the chair here. And so I've measured that distance up to about here, which is about 8 centimeters. So it'll be between 8 and 9 centimeters for the top of the desk. So I've gone ahead and I've downloaded the files, but this is what the piece looks like. And it comes in 2 sections. Well, it comes with a monitor by itself. There's the monitor. And it also comes in 2 sections, the top and this base right here. So this section right here, I want to be about 8 centimeters tall. So that's what I'm going for. So I got the files downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and bring them into my my Creality printer program. So here I have it loaded into my print. I'm going to go over to my scale. And the Z is the height of the piece. And remember, I want the height to be about 80 millimeters. So for 8 centimeters, let me just put in 80. Okay, so there's the base right there. Now it's important that I understand what scale this is, and it says it's about 164%. So I'm going to keep that number in mind because 164% is going to be the scale that I'm using for the top and also for the monitor. So make sure you make a note of that number right there, 163.75, or just you can round up to 164 if you want to. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, but that's the percentage you're going to use when you scale up your pieces. And remember, I just got that 8 centimeters from where I thought it would be comfortable on my chair, you know, and it would look natural, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and load this into my printer the same way that I did before. I'm going to print this piece, and I'm going to print the tabletop separately, and I'm also going to print the view screen separately. So let me get all those together and maybe even glue the top on. So I'll be right back. Okay, I printed out my table and I glued the top down. Remember, I used the scale of 163.75 to scale the other pieces. Yeah, you know what? I was kind of playing with this. There was a little imperfection in the print right there, so I used some putty to kind of like fix that. And it looks like I'm gonna have to get some putty and kind of like fill in that gap as well. So, but anyway, the table looks good. I think it's a great scale. Let me get my Spock again, so you can kind of see what I was talking about with the scale of the piece. Let me move this up. So you can see that the table is a pretty good scale for Mr. Spock. Looks like everything's going well. I am going to fill in that little gap before I paint the rest of this piece, but everything's primed and ready to go. I just got to fill in that gap. Let me get that done. I went digging around in my work area and I found this dry deck spackling and nail hole compound. So I'm going to take a little bit of this, squeeze it on my finger. Let's see if I can squeeze it in there. I need some more. Oops. I'm just going to push it into that hole there, that gap. And then I've got paper towel and a Q-tip, a wet Q-tip, to help clean it up. And I'm just filling in that gap. And it's pretty easy to do. There's my wet paper towel, or my damp paper towel. Looks like that's maybe all I need. Okay, it looks like my gap is filled. I think I'm going to spritz that with a little bit more gray primer after it dries and then start on the paint job. But I think I'm ready to go. Yeah, there was a bit of a crack in there too. I got that earlier. But yeah, I think it's getting ready. I found some baby blue spray paint, so I spray painted my chair. I think I have the cap here. Let me grab it. It's this stuff right here. It's called Peekaboo Blue. So I'm spray painting the chair as we speak. And there's the repair that I made. So, you know what, the base of the table is gray, but the top is brown. So I thought I'd use a base called King's Gold. And this is going to be the top of the table. I might have to do a couple of coats, because what I thought I'd do afterwards is I'd use a gel stain, which is a translucent paint, to give it kind of like a wood appearance. So I'm just going to get on a coat of this yellow. Oops. Boy, look at that. You have to wipe some off. Yeah, I've got way too much paint there. But I'm just going to put up a couple of base coats on this, just to get a nice good yellow. And then I can come back with a wood tone. So there's my first coat. Let me get the grain going all in the same way. Maybe that might help with the gel coat. So let me let that dry and come back and do maybe 2 or 3 more coats. All right, I think I'm down to my last coat on this finish. So what I've been doing is taking my King's Gold and just applying it to the top of this table. And I've been trying to follow the same pattern. I don't know if the grains will show, but that's the intention. And I can see some like dark spots there. I'm going to try to keep those just because that's going to be, you know, a variation in kind of like the color and texture. So when I use my gel, it will look a little more realistic. Okay, I think that's my final coat. Let me go across for the corners. And then what I've been doing is for my final step, any paint that I get on the side, I just kind of wipe up with a damp paper towel, so I have a nice clean edge. It's looking pretty good. See anything over here? Oops. Just got to make sure that you have a flat surface with your paper towel, so you get a nice clean line. And some parts may require a little more elbow grease than others. Look at that seam though. That seam looks really good. That putty that I used, really neat. Oh, I missed a spot. Okay, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to add the gel stain. I've also finished my chair. I painted it a kind of like a baby blue. And so at this point I'm going to use, I have a color here, what is it called? Canyon Sunset. And I'm going to paint the chair base and top with Canyon Sunset, and I'll probably have to do a couple of coats on this too. But I just wanted to show you what the paint is going to look like once it's applied. I'm doing an orange theme because I have an orange bed that I'm working with. But that's basically what I'm going to do there. You can see this orange paint covers pretty well. So I'll get this guy finished. I'll get the table dried and I'll come back and I'll add the stain. Alright, looks like this is pretty well dried. Now it's a moment of truth. I'm going to get my gel stain. Now this gel stain I just found at Hobby Lobby. I was looking at a piece that I was making, like a diorama set, and just bumped into this stuff, and it's translucent brown paint. And it gives you a nice grain effect. Now let me get the corners first. And it's translucent, so it's a really cool paint for wood. Now let me get the corners. I'm gonna push off on an edge for the corners. And I'm gonna have to do some major cleanup, I can see already. But let me just get this down, and then I'll come back and I'll do the grain. Yeah, just push into the corners with a flat edge so I can minimize the amount of cleaning that I have to do. Okay, let me get this cleaned up real quick. Oh, maybe not. I don't know what the set time on this is, but I'm gonna do the grain patterns. You can see how that's looking. Let me do longer strokes. That looks pretty good. Let me try this again. There we go. And it looks like if you take it and you make the longest stroke possible, it's going to give you the best results. Now let me get this cleaned real quick because I got a lot of overspray. Well, not overspray, just over travel here on the sides, and I got to get that cleaned up before it sets. I want a nice clean line. Looks like I got it. And anything you do miss, you can go back and you can touch up. But that's the gel coat, and that's that effect that you get when you paint it yellow underneath, and then you come back and then you use the gel coat on top. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? All right, looks like my table's almost done. I'm gonna get these guys cleaned up. I'm probably going to cover everything with a matte clear enamel. Got my chair done. I'm thinking about adding a wash in the corners, like a brown wash, but it's still wet. So I'll be back. You know, I am just amazed at how that tabletop came out. Look at that, that looks like wood grain. That is just amazing. Just crazy. I finished it with a, I got this stuff right here, this crystal clear satin. Now the satin gives it a little bit more of a glossy finish on the top, and that's what I was going for. The rest of the pieces I hit with this stuff, this matte clear enamel, because I didn't want, you know, I wanted a nice dull side panel. I might hit this chair with some of that satin stuff. You can see my repair right there. Might hit the chair with that just to give it a little more, I guess, gloss. But the table itself, just can't get over that. That's just beautiful. I also have the view screen here. I'm gonna put that right there. I have Dr. McCoy so that we can get an idea of the scale. Get him in a seated position. See, the scale on that works pretty well, doesn't it? So, you know, kind of like, I guess, guessing on the chair and then coming back and using that as a reference for the rest of the pieces was a pretty good idea on my part. I like to pat myself on the back whenever I can. But very happy with this piece. So, you know, I just want to thank JD for putting these out there. And you know what? They're free downloads too. I mean, you can tip him whatever you'd like. You can join his Patreon pages. But to have the ability to print out stuff like this is just amazing. And you know what? When I was a kid, I had a headboard that had like different compartments and a couple sliding doors, and that used to be my Enterprise. And boy, if I would have had pieces like this back then, I had fun, but I think I would have had a lot more fun. I think I have Nurse Chapel here too. Give you a further idea of the scale. I've got a couple of J-Spy's accessories. You know, the this notepad and stylus came from his Star Trek collection, along with this right here, this little communicator. I hand painted these, but you know, the detail on these is really good. And then that hand scanner that Dr. McCoy uses to diagnose patients. So yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with my my 3D printed table here. I might put it in my sick bay. I haven't decided yet, or maybe I'll use it as a gaming table in the rec room, and have Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock play a game of 3D chess. I haven't decided yet, but I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, if you were thinking about a 3D printer, maybe this kind of pushed you over the edge. I don't know. It's just it's a fun thing to have, especially if you are into displaying. Not so much collecting, because you know a lot of people will collect them and just keep them in the boxes. But if you're into displaying your figures, you know, having a 3D printer goes a long way to helping you get the most out of them, I think. And I enjoy, you know, playing with mine, displaying them. I have a really good time doing that. So having the 3D printer is a win for me. I just can't get over the tabletop. It's amazing. Well, until next time, you guys stay safe and be cool. And you know what? This is getting to be a real fun hobby. Well, you guys take care now. Bye-bye.